Hello, and welcome to a very exciting video where we are basically going to look at all of the manga I am currently engaging with in some form or another. This is part of my big project for year-end videos, and originally I wasn't even going to start on this until kind of closer to the year's end, or at least like December. But there's so many I wanted to do, and I was really excited to work on this one. So it's coming to you now, probably in multiple parts. I quite a while ago made a video where we just walked through my currently reading list on Manga Dex, and I found it really fun to just kind of take a quick look at a whole bunch of different series and give my quick impressions and recommendations and such. It's been a long time since we did that. The list has grown gigantic, as if it wasn't already gigantic, and there's a lot of series that I haven't had a chance to talk about yet that I would really like to get to. To make it a little more exciting, I decided I would adopt the practice of the Michelin guides and give some starred recommendations to series that I think are really noteworthy. So, you know, there's lots of controversies around the Michelin guide, but I think their rating system is really cool, and the legacy of these ratings being so rare and strict, dating all the way back to like the 1920s, is pretty remarkable, and I really want to aim for that same sort of spirit. So the vast majority of the series we're going to look at will receive no stars. And that's not to say that they're bad or anything, just that we're going to try to set a very, very high bar for what's going to get the stars. And I have an exciting way to display this, continuing my innovation in doing video effects without editing. I can award things 1 star, or 2 stars, or 3 stars. Isn't that fun? So 1 star on the Michelin guide says that it's kind of like a noteworthy example of that genre of cuisine. And similarly here, I want to highlight something that if you're already reading that kind of genre, if you're already enjoying that sort of manga, then this is definitely one you shouldn't miss, that it stands near atop that sort of movement, and will really appeal to any fans of that kind of series. For 2 stars, which is much, much more rare, to give an example, the Michelin Guide just came out with their Toronto edition. This created a big stir among all my friends who are big-time foodies, and they awarded something like, basically like 30-ish 1 stars and 1 2 star. So it drops off really quickly. And the Michelin Guide says that 2 stars are worth a detour, that if you're traveling, it's all kind of based around tourism and traveling, then it's worth detouring out of your way to eat at this restaurant. And it's not really about whether or not you like that type of cuisine or not, it's just so good that it's that worthy of your time and money. So similarly here, I want to use this to highlight manga that I think are essential for anyone who's into manga. That if you consider yourself a manga fan, if you're in the business of finding series and reading them and stuff, this is one not to miss. And then finally, the elusive legendary 3 stars in the Michelin Guide. It says that these restaurants are worth a trip themselves just to go eat here. In the manga world, I would say for anyone, fans of any media whatsoever, if you can appreciate a good story or a great piece of art or just a masterpiece of human expression, you ought to check out this series. Okay, with that in mind, I think what we're going to do is just plunge into my library. And I don't... Of course, it started us off with an extremely embarrassing one. But we're going to go through all of the stuff that I currently have marked as reading, give some thoughts, give some stars. I probably won't have a ton to say about all of them, but we're going to, I don't know, just enjoy ourselves. And like I said, this will probably be multi-part. I also want to cover series that I'm planning to reading, series that I've marked as completed. I want to look at Viz, the Shonen Jump app, the series they're offering. It's just going to be a manga extravaganza. So thanks for joining me. Let's buckle down and talk about Chi 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 Chi. This is by the author of Maid Dragon. On his scale of degeneracy, this is about 75% there. And I have no comment for why I am reading it. This is one of the many, many Saki spin-offs. This one I think is very ambitiously paced. in that the goal of this series is to show how the current roster of adult pros in the main Saki series grew up and became pros. And we're 100 chapters deep. It's been running for over 5 years now. And the kids have just made it into middle school. And a lot of the pro players that obstinately the series was supposed to focus on have not even been introduced. But I'm enjoying it. It's quite nice. Good mahjong action. Not anywhere near as ridiculous as Saki, but the characters still have some sort of magical powers. The art style has this nice gentleness to it. Definitely worth checking out if you like mahjong, if you're involved in the greater Saki-verse. I think this is one of the better series. This is a very nice series. It got an anime recently. This guy you probably know from the teasing master Takagi-san. I really like this one. I like how it blends really laid-back slice-of-life stuff with a very unique setting, this sort of ninja village. The very large expanded past, I think, is very well defined. You get to see all the different teams, how they interact among themselves, how the teams interact together. There's lots of really fun ninja action. It has that really goofy, kind of low-impact ninja tricks, ninja substitution, jumping around between the trees, all the stuff that made the early chapters of Naruto so fun. And then there's this ongoing plot line, the mystery of what is a man in this all-women's village. They start to wonder. So yeah, it's very fun, very cute. Check it out. Nagatoro-san, I think, is a very underrated and very what's the word I'm looking for? Where people just kind of shit talk it. Anyways, people shit talk this one, and okay, sure, yes, the character did emerge from pornographic doujinshi, and originally the series was very, very masochistic fetishy. But what's emerged over these last few years has been a really lovely rom-com that just hits all the right notes, has a really nice sense of progress, super endearing characters, a good spin-off cast, hitting all the main rom-com story beats. It's hitting some major climactic parts in this year. I've really just enjoyed it more and more with each major arc. I'm super excited to see the results of some of the stuff they've been setting up. It's pretty rare that you get kind of these one couple focused rom-coms that are somewhat gimmicky, I guess, in their presentation, and just feel so much, I don't know, tension and excitement and stuff. I think, as far as rom-coms though, this is one of the ones I'm most invested in right now, which is really surprising given, again, just kind of how like fetishy and gimmicky it was to me at the start. So don't dismiss it. Check it out. If you like rom-coms, you don't have to be a masochist. This is the Bakemonogatari manga, the adaptation of the legendary long-running light novel series by Nisio Oisen, which of course is also very famously adapted as a Shaft anime or sequence of animes. I love the manga adaptation. The art by Oh Great is super unique. It's like hyper digital. There's like so much stuff that you would never actually see in kind of like conventional drawing based manga, I guess. Just super elaborate, super detailed, super complex, super violent. The action scenes in this do not pull any punches. Just like the other adaptations of his work, this one elaborates even further on the light novels. It makes it more intertwined and interwoven, kind of hinting more at the future, given that this was written when there was more of the future to hint at already. I don't know if I'm explaining it too well. If you know what Monogatari is, then you probably already know about this, and if you don't, and you're going to learn about it, you're going to go, oh my god, this sounds crazy. Good stuff. Right now they're adapting Kizu Monogatari, but they're nearing the end of that. I'm not really sure where they're going to go from there. But hopefully the scanlations will pick up shortly. It's been very, very hit or miss. We can see here that volume 19 is already releasing, and I'm pretty sure this is... this is this is an arc from like Zoku Owari Monogatari, I think. So what is the manga doing? I don't know. Let's move on. Okay, here we go. Banger alert. This is one of my favorite mangas of all time. A very laid back slice of life comedy about a man raising his quirky, but in the end, pretty reasonable 6-year-old daughter. 6? 5? I can't remember. 5? Yotsuba is just a kid and just wants to do kid stuff. And you experience the wonder and joy of the world through her eyes. The art is beautiful, just these low-key suburban slices of life. The extended cast are all so endearing and lovable and memorable. And it's really, really funny too, like really just genuinely funny. We're gonna award some stars here. This one, I'm gonna go so far as to say it's 3 stars. I don't think there's anything else in the world that's quite like this series in terms of just expressing the joy of parenthood. In terms of expressing the goofiness of parenthood and the love of a child for each day of adventure and fun. It comes out really, really infrequently. We're lucky to see a couple chapters a year, but I think it's worth getting caught up for anybody at all, ever. This is just a series that will be like the sun shining in your heart. So we're jumping straight to 3 stars. Don't expect too many more of that. This is The Virgin's Empire. I haven't actually been caught up on this for quite a while. So much so that I should probably switch it into plan to read. But I read maybe the first... Whoa, my phone... The mouse battery's gonna die. Okay, hold on. I need to get the cable. Bro, I feel like Mission Impossible. Wait, but I have the camera plugged in there. Will it reach from here? Dun, dun. I didn't unplug the mouse. Good. In the video where I reach new heights of professionalism with my exciting star system, I also reach new lows of professionalism in my... In the middle of the video, I have to plug in my mouse. Anyways, I read maybe the first 50 chapters of this years and years and years ago, but I quite like it. There's like a ton of characters. They all have their little Yuri pairings. The chapters are very like episodic. Some of the pairings are very goofy. Some of them are more serious. There's this kind of edge to everything, I think, where it's not overly fluffy or anything. They're very kind of realistic characters with realistic urges and what have you. Definitely want to get caught up at it sometime again. This is... this is a strange one. I watched the anime for this, which is a lot of fun. I think I'm not up to date on the manga. I gotta... You know what? Some of these are in the wrong spots. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's a goofy slice of life comedy. I think the characterization is good. I think the fact that all the characters are kind of just like rude and mean is kind of unique and interesting. Alright, this one's pretty cool. This is a Toho Mahjong Doujinshi series, okay? So, like a lot of other series, it's kind of its own subgenre now. This is superpower Mahjong, where all the characters have some sort of basically cheating effect on the game, and it's all about kind of navigating that. It's great though. I really, really like the art style. I'm sure we can show some of it because it's a doujinshi series. It's fine. I think it has like a really good dramaticism, all these like really cool effects. The character expressions are really good. This is not like a representative chapter. Let's get some Mahjong action. And then, as a Mahjong fan, I think this is like a really inventive way to depict the game, because the powers are so strong and so seemingly unbeatable that the puzzle-solving aspect of how the characters navigate that and how our hero ends up victorious is really super compelling, in the same way that it is in like Saki or the one about the Japanese Prime Minister. But like, I don't know, the fact that it's like Mahjong or the fact that it's like Toho powers too. the Toho powers aren't just straight superpowers. They're kind of like deranged. It's kind of like I don't know. It's very good. I think for Toho fans, it's one of the best depictions of the character's powers in a way that feels very lore accurate and like unnerfed because it's like constrained to the game. And then the personalities that emerge from the powers, I think, are very well expressed and executed. And for Mahjong fans, I think it's one of the most fun power-based series. You really, really see like the wide range of possibilities in this game, and how you can interact when, you know, the boringness of actual statistics isn't in the way. I'm gonna give this a star. This deserves 1 star for sure. If you're in that very specific niche of Toho fan and Superpower Mahjong series fan, I think you owe it to yourself to check this out. This one, I don't think it's been updated in quite a long time. It's, actually, I'm just not up to date, but I was reading this for quite a while. It's just nice adult Yuri about these women that are kind of disasters. They're not really taking care of their lives very well, but they meet each other and they really support each other, and they start to get this beautiful relationship. I should read more of it. I'm kind of behind on a bunch of Yuri. For a while I kind of felt like I was too emotionally sensitive to read Yuri, but I remember this one being good, so we'll have to get into it again. This is another Mahjong series that's much less super-powered, much more down-to-earth. Of course, you know, people can still get outrageously lucky, but it's not because of magic. This one I'm also going to plan to read, because I haven't actually read it yet, I don't think. Maybe I started reading it a while ago, but I didn't actually catch up for sure. But it looks fine. Mitsuboshi Colors is a very cute series with these brats that are causing trouble for the neighborhood. You've probably seen this artist for Bochi, Hitori Bochi no Marumaru Seikatsu, a really wonderful series that we will get to later. But yeah, I don't know. I like this one fine. It's finished. I haven't finished reading it. I'm probably like halfway through. So this is another one I have to still get to. But yeah, really nice art. They do full color stuff quite often, which is neat. Just really expressive facial stuff. Lots of really cool environmental stuff. The anime was quite good too. This is one of many kind of pseudo sequels to Akagi. This one is being written and drawn by Fukumoto, a legendary mangaka we're going to talk about a lot on this list. It's been really good so far. If you like that particular type of mahjong action, again, it's not superpower, but it's like insanely unlikely and intense. I really like our main character here, Mamiya. She's very, very different than Akagi, but is hinted to be at a similar power level. I like that Fukumoto, as his characteristic of him, is taking his time. The very first match of the series has gone on for the entirety of these 4 volumes and doesn't seem like it'll end anytime soon. Yeah, it's great. She's badass. What a babe. I think it'll be good. This is a very laid-back slice-of-life Yuri series about a voice actor and a scriptwriter. I don't know, I remember it having like a really languid pace. Again, it's finished, but I haven't finished reading it. It looks like I'm about halfway through, so I'll have to get to that eventually. I'm gonna have to have like Yuri Fiesta Day. This is one where I'm up to date, but the scanlation has finished. Just kidding, I'm not up to date. It's over. I actually really, really like this series. I think it's one that should have a lot more attention. I think it's kind of... A lot of people dismiss it because it's 4-koma, and they assume it'll be kind of silly, but it actually has a very compelling plot, really beautiful, really unique art, extremely good, mystifying world building. I really can't praise it enough. I just wish it went on longer, because the point at which I stopped reading, I think I stopped reading because I was frustrated that I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe it's ending. There's still so much stuff they could have explored. But I think I'm hoping that it'll have like a nice poetic ending, even though maybe it's not as thoroughly satisfying as I hoped. But yeah, a really good sense of progression while still having some time for kind of slice of life. Character building stuff, really nice Yuri moments, really strong friendships, and the art style is super cute. Definitely a big fan. This I was reading, I don't think many chapters got scanlated. Yeah, it's kind of like another 100 Friends type series. It feels like that's becoming a genre in and of itself, like Komi-san or Hitori Bocchi. This one is like hyper cute, fwa. She goes to an elite Ojo-sama type school and everyone starts fawning over her. There's no real explanation for it. It's just kind of like silly, fluffy Yuri fantasy. So yeah, I don't know. It's fun. This was another series that I thought was very intriguing, but has not received many scanlations. I don't know if it's still running. I don't know how much exists in the raw, but hopefully, eventually, these long Fukumoto scanlation projects will spend some time on it. This is a spin-off of The Strongest Man. Excuse me? Why can't I think of his name? I love that series. Well, we'll get to it eventually. Name. Legend of a Strongest Man. Why can't I think of that series, dude? I'm gonna give it stars. I love it. Anyways, this is a spin-off of that, focusing on one of the antagonists from early on in the series. This very tall, very Chad-like teenage punk that our protagonist, name redacted, name forgotten, has to battle with. In this spin-off series, you get to see the complexities of the life of someone supposedly popular and supposedly kind of with it socially, all the anxieties he has around maintaining his popularity, navigating social media, all that stuff as he tries to kind of embark on the adult phase of his life. It was pretty interesting, especially kind of from Fukumoto, who's the very old man's perspective on this stuff. Very endearing, but at the same time quite scathing and quite cutting to the core in a way that only someone who's a step away from actually being kind of entrenched in this stuff could be. Really, really cool series. I would like to reread it, because I don't remember what all happens, and hopefully we'll get some more soon. This one I was quite addicted to, and marathon getting caught up really quickly, and then scanlation stopped. It's really melodramatic. It's about this young teenage mom who, for reasons not quite explicable, is hiding her pregnancy from everyone, and just her kind of trials and tribulations. And this sort of story can really touch something special in my heart. It's not worth getting into the whole psychoanalysis of why. But I found myself super caught up in this, even though I didn't think it was like particularly great or, mind-blowing or insightful. So it's okay. I would love to see what happens with it, but I don't expect an update anytime soon. This is a Korean series I quite like, about these 3 women who all turned 29 in the same year. They've been friends for a long time. They're all having different struggles in their lives, which kind of intersect in odd ways. Again, I would love to see more. It hasn't been updated in quite a while, the scanlations. I really like the art style. It has this kind of cool digital flat approach to it. I think all the characters are really endearing. I think the male characters, and this is rare for me to say, the male character in this sort of rom-com type series is also super compelling, and I'm like, yeah, I can see why you're into him, which is always fun. I don't know. I don't have too much to say about it. I feel like this is kind of like a whole genre of manhwa that exists, the manhwa rom-com, that I have only barely touched upon and have really enjoyed in this one, and I really ought to explore more. This is a silly, ecchi series. I don't know. I probably read it because the girl had big boobs. This is an insane series for insane pervert psychopaths, where this poor robotic girl is humiliated and exposed in a increasingly Rube Goldberg-esque series of mishaps. I actually find it very funny because it's just like so nightmarishly brutal in a way that seems to serve absolutely no purpose. Like, it doesn't even feel like it's meant to be erotic. It's just like bizarre. Yeah, very funny. I hope there's more scanlated because it never fails to crack me up. I don't know. Don't read it. This is like for no one. No one will enjoy this besides me. This is an interesting series looking at headphones, another kind of slice of life hobby series, where this girl is introduced to a total headphone otaku who takes her through the world of high-end luxury audiophile headphones. I like that they focus on one particular brand and model for multiple chapters, often including a trip to their factories through manga magic, learning about how they're produced, and then these really evocative, really exciting depictions of what it's like to hear them. Sometimes it's really fan servicey. I think this one is probably very fan servicey. But it's really neat. You get to learn about the technology in a really exciting way. Yeah, like here, for example, wow, the stacks, they're so delicate and graceful. It's like getting your ears cleaned. I don't know. It's really nice. As someone who's kind of into headphones and likes to learn about this stuff, I found myself really swept away by it. I know a lot of people are very skeptical of audiophile stuff and scoff at the idea of paying upwards of $1,000 for a pair of headphones. This series is not for them. But I think if it wasn't so weirdly fan servicey, this could get actually a pretty cool audience among audiophiles. But alas, it shoots itself in the foot yet again. Torikisa! This one has not been scanlated in a while. It looks like there's 7 volumes before it was completed in Japan. Hopefully we'll get a chance to read them sometimes because this is a very, very lovely series. It's very goofy, very wacky. It's about this hapless salaryman who stumbles into a cafe run by bird people and then learns all of the denizens of the forest as he helps the bird people out by running a more successful cafe. Very silly, very cute, unique art style. I don't know. I quite like it. Check it out. This was the pre-Dojin version, the webcomic version of something that ultimately got a normal serialized release, so we'll talk about the serialized release later. I don't know, it says it all in the title. This, I think, only has 1 chapter scanlated. 2, which is very unfortunate because this is one of my favorite mangaka of all time, mostly for their Toho Dojinshi. And now they're releasing all of these properly serialized stories, and no one is scanlating them. And I'm very sad because I feel like they'll be really, really, really good and could actually get a big audience and maybe even get localized. Nobody's doing it. I gotta take matters in my own hands. I don't know. This was a super short series. I don't really remember what happens in it. Seems like Yuri. Alright, good. This was like a slice of life series. They only scanlated 1 chapter. That's unfortunate. It's Kirara, so you kind of know what it is. 4 or 5 girls are going to get together and do a hobby, but they're only going to do the hobby maybe in 50% of chapters, and the other 50% they're going to bum around and eat food. And it's going to be very, very cute, and eventually there will be a anime released by Doga Kobo. Many such cases. This one was a weird series of dojins where somebody who goes in for a circumcision ends up getting boobs. And I was like, okay, here it is. And there's not much of it, and I don't remember much about it. The only thing that stands out to me now is notable is that this guy has also translated a bunch of Tekotsuboya dojins, where, you know, if you know, you know. So that represents like a really broad range of doujinshi translating interests. These are by the person who makes a lot of stuff. What's the thing that there's like a specific thing that this person made that I was like, yeah, they're famous for blank. But none of these are actually that famous. Oh, this is an anthology series. Okay. Alright, whatever. Can't remember what this is exactly. This should go to... Oh, I haven't finished reading it. Oh, this is the manga version of a series that ran for a very long time in doujinshi, and I read a lot of the doujinshi stuff. I don't know, it's a cute series. It's just like a rom-com. The girl is like very easily flustered even though she looks like super intense, and it's kind of all playing about that gap. That's nice. I don't know. It's fine. This is another Mahjong series. Has not been updated in a long time. Very silly 4-koma about this super clumsy, superly awkward, socially girl that happens to be like an Akagi tier Mahjong player. It's 4-koma, so you can't really like dive into the Mahjong aspect too much, but it's kind of like if you read a lot of Mahjong manga, this is like funny. This should be in plan to read. Oh, no, I do remember reading this. Once again, this is Kirara, or might as well be, some amount of girls, 3 this time, cooking and eating and stuff. Okay, sure. Let's keep moving. This is a very, very popular series now, Komi-san. It's had its ups and downs. I think the premise is good, the characterization is good, the tone is good, it's very goofy, while still having some really heart-stoppingly direct, dramatic, sincere moments. It's kind of suffering from its own success, I think, in that it became such a runaway hit that they realized they can just kind of do arcs forever. And although there is progress, there's no sense of urgency whatsoever, and they're content to just kind of throw endless rehashes and variations and parodies and stuff our way. So, I don't know, I still enjoy reading it week by week, but overall I've started to feel a little exasperated with the series. The anime adaptation has been really fantastic so far. I hope they continue it. It's kind of like reinvigorated my love for the series as a whole. I think, it does very, very well in animation just because of this wide range of genres and parodies and styles. So yeah, I don't know, it's fine. This is the original One Punch Man, the webcomic, which updates very, very, very seldomly these days, which is very, very tragic. It certainly has a lot of charm and appeal that the remake does not, although the remake, of course, exceeds and excels in other ways as well. For my money, and there is no money because it's a free webcomic, this is the one that's actually the most notable, I think. That it's so raw, so personal, so passion project, made by someone who really does not have a whole lot of artistic ability. He improves from chapter to chapter, but you can see in the original one it's very amateurish, scribbly, ambitious types of drawings. And yet, in doing so, he's created a character that's so classic, so iconic, perhaps one of the most iconic characters to come out of shonen in the last, 20 years. A world that's so intriguing, that has so many layers of power and different structures interfering with each other in complex ways, has created this tapestry on which the remake comic and the wildly successful anime, at least the first season, were able to interpret in such a compelling way. I think most of the changes made from this are interesting and fine, but the original has such a purity to it that I don't think can be ever totally obsoleted. This one gets a star for sure. If you like shonen, you really owe it to yourself to read this. If you're just kind of fascinated by, not quite outsider art, but just these kind of internet solo passion projects where somebody kind of develops the skills to create what they want to see exist as they're creating it, then this is one of the best examples I know of. this is another very beautiful series. Some of the most enchantingly beautiful art in all of manga. They recently introduced an anime, and I have no freaking clue how they're gonna hope to capture any of this. The characters are super endearing. The plot line is compelling. The world building is super rich. I'm not always like super compelled by each direction the plot takes, but they're certainly balancing very well a sense of progress and world building and long-term mysteries with short-term conflicts, and really nothing at all to complain about here. I think this one is worth checking out for anyone that's into manga. I think you owe it to yourself, if you appreciate the art form, to just see what beautiful, beautiful directions this manga has taken it in. Yeah, it's a one-of-a-kind series. It feels like it has emerged from an entirely different artistic tradition than most manga. With all of this in mind, I'm happy to give it 2 stars. Maybe I should leave it up longer. Ta-da! Just in case people are kind of skimming through, seeing which ones I've starred. This is Boko Yabai, one of the kind of premier rom-coms running right now. It recently got an anime adaptation. It may seem at first, I don't know, like a little generic, or maybe a little gimmicky with its idea of the male lead being kind of super edgy, nihilistic, depressed, despairing. But again, kind of like Nagatoro-san, what emerges from this seemingly contrived setup is something really authentic and beautiful and compelling and cute, heartwarming, everything you would want from a rom-com. It's like a little weirdly fan servicey. I'll give that disclaimer. I think when the anime comes out, it'll generate a lot of discourse, which will be very funny to me. But it's kind of interesting that it is written by the same person who made Rororo, which we discussed a little bit before. Yes, definitely worth checking out if you like rom-coms. I'm happy to award this a star. It has such a unique presentation, such fun in paneling and character expression and stuff. It's been just a joy to be reading this from right around when it started and seeing this rating on Manga Dex just climb steadily as it really blooms into itself. This chapter, I Don't Want to Lose, I think, which involves our male lead surreptitiously reading a letter that the female lead wrote, is one of now my favorites, I think, in all of rom-coms. Happy to give it a star. Very, very excited to see what sort of discourse the anime will bring. This is a shogi series about, it's really more of a rom-com, although they do kind of feature shogi action to an extent that I enjoy. We have a little bit of a love triangle, a little bit of a will they, won't they confession tension, a little bit of a club drama, we gotta recruit people and keep the club going. All of these kind of like semi-genres stapled together makes for a very nice time. Every time I see it update now, they have this like really explicit looking cover. It's not like this. There's like no fan service. There's no like sexual intensity or anything. All of the intensity happens on the shogi board, as it should. But yeah, it's pretty good. Another one from your forehead king of Takagi-san and Tsubaki and all of them. Maid Dragon is still chugging along, now 13 volumes in. Looking at the Kyoshinsha perversion scale, it sits comfortably at maybe 40 to 50%. Much has been made of the anime being problematic and fetishy and stuff, but it gets so much worse. I think this manga is fine. I feel like the initial premise has long been outlived, but a lot of the new arcs they introduce are still quite interesting. They manage to keep themselves from just going into full indulgence with fan service, both of the booby kind and of the battle scene kind. There is kind of like some long-term lore mysteries that I've found myself kind of invested in. Even though I feel like at this point, like the character count and the amount of fetishes they're trying to hit with said character count is getting kind of ridiculous. But it's a good time. I'm gonna keep at it. I want to see, what happens. This is a series that has recently been getting updates again after a long, long hiatus. I love it. It's about this very socially awkward girl that can only communicate when she's rapping. Despite her gloomy, unsociable appearance, she just loves hip-hop. And about her hapless friend who sits next to her, and all the trouble she gets herself into. Pretty fun series. I don't know, not much to say about it. I really admire the translation team for attempting to come up with stuff that rhymes in the translation as well. And even more so for, at the end of each chapter, they recommend a hip-hop album, and they have good taste. They know about, like, the deep classics. They know about, like, the coolest parts of the cutting edge. The group is going... Is this a reference? Is this what I think this is a reference to? No, probably not. They would have said crew. They're just rapping. Alright. Yeah. But check this one out. It's really fun. If you like hip-hop especially, check it out. This is... if there was ever going to be a series that made me into a furry, hee. It's about this fox spirit that decides she wants to try living as a high schooler. Manifests herself into one. For a long time, the tension is kind of around. She thinks she's still undercover and that nobody realizes she's a fox girl, but of course everyone does. And she's trying to disguise her ancientness and fit in with the youths, which is fun. Just kind of the culture their school forms around this new live-in god is a lot of fun. And it's just your nice laid back slice of life non-adventures, which is always good for me. I really do like the art style. I was kind of joking about becoming a furry, but kind of not. I don't know, just they're so expressive. They're so fun. Yeah, and then they run into like Tanuki Girl, Weasel Girl, the other fox spirits in her family get involved. It's a lot of fun. Nichijou became very, very famous, of course, with the anime adaptation. It like finished and then unfinished a while ago. I always sort of found the manga a little disappointing, having started to read it after I watched the anime, which is like one of my favorite anime of all time. I mean, you just really can't match KyoAni's expressiveness in their interpretation, but it's still fantastic. You still get really funny faces and really good depiction of action and really nice, rich backgrounding and stuff. It made me super sad that we won't likely get any more adaptations of Nichijou from KyoAni, because the arcs that weren't covered, the plot lines, the characters are all so very funny. And then even despite this wackiness, even despite this outright like insanity, they still have little moments of sincerity, of nostalgia, of there's a word I'm thinking of. Sentimentality. There's these really nice sentimental moments that still really hit and really make you feel that nice warm feeling, which is quite a remarkable balance to pull off. Happy to give this one a star as well. I think it's a one-of-a-kind series that everyone should give a try. But the anime especially. We're running into some bangers here. Again, I have no idea how this is sorted, but here's another extremely acclaimed, extremely hot manga right now that received, as far as I know, pretty mediocre anime adaptation, which is a shame. But the manga itself is great, super intense, really great art style, really intense characterizations. I'm sure everyone reading this will have at least one character that they just fixate on, whether it's because that character is super relatable or because that character represents some sort of ideal to them. Learning about the art world is super fascinating, both in terms of the mechanics of painting, histories of art movements, and then the kind of logistical reality of being an artist in modern times. all sorts of different perspectives are seen across pretty major arcs that always have a huge cathartic climax, whether that's through triumph or failure. Maybe this series is kind of fatigued by a problem that a lot of these sort of series have, where they can only kind of make each realization so profound when you know it's just going to be followed up by another sense of inadequacy and another realization later. But for now, at least, the thrill of it, the excitement, the tension hasn't worn off for me. And I would, again, happily give this a star. Check it out if you like art, if you like these sort of psychologically intense scene and series. If you want to learn a whole lot about art, it's great. Check it out. Another banger, another series I've been very, very impressed with. I think it's ending soon, so no better time to check out. And there's going to be an anime series by Trigger, which is crazy. They did like a PV of it years and years ago, but now they've been secretly cooking up a full-on adaptation. I don't know how far it'll go. This is a series that I feel like in some ways has just been getting better and better and better as the stakes get higher, as the world building becomes more rich and relevant, as the characters we've so loved are developed and pushed to these extreme, compelling arcs. And yet the first chapters have not lost a single touch of their charm. Just the sheer joy in seeing them cook and eat monsters, how lovingly and deliciously the food is depicted. I have a lot to say in praise of this one, but just check it out, dive into it. I think this is one that you don't really need to be into these sort of fantasy series. You don't need to be into cooking series or adventuring series or anything. If you like comedy, check it out. If you just like good world building, check it out. If you just like stories of friendship and camaraderie and overcoming circumstances by thinking together, check it out. I can't imagine someone who likes manga that wouldn't enjoy this. It just has so many things that I like from so many genres of manga. Happy to give this one 2 stars. I think this one is extremely worth investing yourself in if you have any investment in the genre at all. Or not the genre, but the medium of manga. It's one of my favorites. Another cooking series. This is another spin-off from Saki. This one has almost no mahjong action whatsoever, only sometimes as a motivator. But basically we take all these characters across the Saki-verse, we learn about their favorite foods, and then our main character, Mako-san, cooks the food for them. The food in this is super, super delicious. This artist, Meki Meki, is very, very talented in making something look just succulent, rich, juicy, flavorful. I don't know how they do it. It's like the food is moe almost. But yeah, don't read it when you're hungry. You'll be driven insane. But I'm really enjoying it so far. It's like lots of really down-to-earth recipes too, which I appreciate. Stuff that you could actually cook on your own. And they get into the details of how to cook it in a really approachable, encouraging way. That it's like, yeah, it's not that hard. You just combine this and damn, isn't that good? You love to see it. Sobi Asobese is another one that got a lot of attention after the anime aired. The scanlation of it has been really disjoint. I don't really know why this one group stopped and then this other group decided to do a chapter way later and then also dumped out the most recent chapter like a few months later too. I think it's maybe something where just like they have like their own site and only certain chapters are getting uploaded here for some reason to like promote themselves or something. I don't know. This is a very, very silly series, very deranged, very degenerate, very funny to me. The cast keeps expanding, which I like. All sorts of running gags have been established at this point. I like a comedy series that just gets like more and more incomprehensible, where the humor is targeted more at people that already found it funny instead of making any sort of compromises to try to attract the larger audience. It's a banger. It's a lot of fun. This is a very stupid ecchi series. No comment. This is a nice rom-com series. It's finished. I should finish reading it. It's all about otaku relationships and how they kind of maneuver their otaku habits while still being successful office career people. I really like the main male character. He just has this nice mix of stoicism and shyness and nerdiness that I find super attractive. But all the characters are great. I think their relationships are very realistic in that they're not super idealized, but have a lot of compromise, a lot of arguments, and all of the things that any real couple has to go through. Of course, always ending in a nice, heartwarming moment. I like how they dive into everyone's otaku hobbies in an educational way that doesn't also shy away from kind of like the major social capital deficits that these characters end up in because of their passions. But yeah, check it out. The art style is really nice too. It has just this kind of overall vibe of like maturity that I think is really well expressed. Look, yeah, we stayed up all night playing Splatoon. Beautiful. This is one of the most ecchi spin-offs of Maid Dragon. I think there's like 4 Maid Dragon spin-offs that we're going to talk about. This one focusing on the hyper-problematic couple of Shota and the dragon familiar he's summoned. Let's not talk about it. This is a series that is quite fan-servicey and has a lady with big boobs in it, but I think is actually super, super, super underappreciated. It's basically just big boobs housewife Yatsuba. Okay. It's the same loving depiction of just suburban life in Tokyo, the same holistic, let's look at every aspect of life with this kind of freshness, with this discovery, with this joy. The same setup of a trio of sisters as neighbors that are always kind of getting into misadventures. Sometimes, though, the biggest instigator, of course, is the titular Oku-san. Titular. I don't know. I think it's really, really nice. The art style especially is just like so rich and detailed. And just the overwhelming theme of she just loves her husband and is so eager to support him, and he's so eager to appreciate her. The extended cast is fun. These two are goofy. I don't know, man. I think it's really good. I think it's super underappreciated because, yes, it gets a little fan servicey, and the character design of Oku-san is outrageous. But also the scan later is like definitely like pretty ESL, and I'm not trying to like bully them. They're doing their best, but a lot of the translation is like a little incomprehensible, and I kind of have to like really muddle through like kind of, okay, what could have this have been saying in Japanese? This is how they translated it. This is probably what it actually means. So it's maybe more effort to read than it ought to be. But I think this score is way too low. I'm gonna give this a star for sure. I think if you like these sort of slice of life series, if you like just this kind of loving depiction of just kind of low-key suburban life and all the complexities of it, basically if you like Yatsuba but you don't mind big boobs, check this out. Ooh, okay. This one is very special to me. This one I actually spent several $100s to help with the scanlation of, because the people working on it didn't have some of the volumes. I gave it a 10 because I want to give that solidarity and bump up the score. This one is very, very unique in the emotional tenor it hits for me and the ways in which I relate to it and the way it's kind of like haunted me ever since I read it. I don't know if I can describe it very well. I certainly can't describe it in a way that seems appealing. But I really recommend people check it out. It's, I don't know. parts of it are so silly, and silly in a way that's like so authentic and pure and fun. Like them playing this video game and just all the little tropes and hallmarks of what it really is to play a game with your friends like this, where you don't know what's going on. It's like in doing so, it's expressing these things that are like inside jokes you've had maybe only with yourself or with like your cousin or something that haven't been saturated out as memes on the internet. It feels like somehow it's seen something very private within yourself. And here I'm just talking about its depiction of playing video games. And then when it starts kind of reaching for deeper emotional tenor, for more, dramatic emotional experiences and stuff, and it still kind of feels like it's touching that secret spot, that's what makes it so special. And probably for a lot of people, they won't get that experience. But I did, and I know some other people that did. And for those people, this is certainly a one-of-a-kind series. I'm going to give this 2 stars because I think it's like a very unique manga that really exemplifies a lot of the stuff that I think is really important and special about like doujinshi culture and self-released manga. I think a lot of like the spirit of manga is exemplified in this for me, which of course is like a very idealistic, strange thing to say. I suppose I can change this to completed, but I don't think for everyone it's going to be a fantastic series. It's certainly not going to be a 10 out of 10 for everyone, but I think for that small group of people, this is absolutely worth seeing if you're among that small group of people for whom this will be an incomparable series. Check it out. It's amazing. And you know what? We're going to call it there. I was thinking maybe I'll do the first 2 pages, but instead I think I'm going to aim for like chunks of an hour. We only made it through like halfway through page 2. We have 7 pages to get to. So I got to like pick up the pace or something, but I don't know. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm probably going to power out at least a couple more segments of this tonight. I hope you're having fun watching it. I hope you think the star system is interesting. I've certainly been interested myself in kind of seeing how I allocate these things. Like, I'm not really sure how I'm going to do it. But I'm really interested to hear your feedback on every aspect of this video. So that's all for now. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.